Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. It's Friday. It's Drama-Free Friday. We hope, don't we? Enough drama for a while. Hello, Joan. Hello, Evelyn, Denise. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Chance is here. Chance is in the house. Yes, he is. Hello, darling. Hello, you darling cat. You darling noisy cat. I know. Hello, Rhonda. Hi, Linda. Two Lindas in the house. So far. Yes, I see you. More than that. More than that. I hear you. How are you guys doing today? I hope you're doing great. Welcome to Drama-Free Friday. I'm going to let you guys visit a minute. Hello, Tori. Hello, Angela. You were watching an old video? That's not hard to do. There's a bunch of them out there. Well, we kind of wait for everybody to show up. I'm going to finish up a quick, I don't know how quick it will be. I'm just prepping something for what I was going to do today. Yes, darling. Hello. How are you? While I am just sitting here doing this, I'm whip stitching around this little piece of fabric that I may or may not get done in time for us to do this today, but at least I can show you what I'm going to do with it. I will not be streaming next Monday evening for me, or Friday. And anybody who is a VIP member of the website at HowToGetCreative.com, there is no live class this month. However, there is a class already recorded and on the site for you. It is live and it is ready, and the email went out. You should have received it this morning with all that information. So I just need to do a little bit more here. So I hope you guys are doing well. Chance is about to drive me crazy. That's a shock. Hello, Catherine. Sunny day for you. Hello, Barbara. Good to see you. You're walking the dog? Good for you, Rhonda. I forgot what kind of dog you have. Maybe I don't know that. But anyway, doesn't matter. Yes, he has arrived. He has arrived. The allergies seem to be calming down, but whew, chihuahua. Oh, no, you cannot get up there. And my nose is running and your mouth is running. That's not a good combination, man. You're getting ready for a craft fair? That's good. Good for you, Angela. Hope it goes very well for you. All right, would you let me do this, please? I just need to get this part done. I'm going to have to switch glasses because I can't see out of the streaming glasses to do this. Then I'll go back. I was just making my list of things to chat with you about. Barbara, I did not know that. Big hugs to you, Barbara. Big hugs to you. I know that was a road. I know that was a road that you walked with him. I don't know exactly how long that was, but I know it was a road. Chance? Chance. Anybody want a cat? He's a cat with a big mouth. Anyway, so it is Friday. Yes, it is. What I'm doing, I will show you here in a second. I am preparing a little pocket, a little envelope pocket made from fabric, which I have stabilizer, embroidery stabilizer on the back. Now, I've already created one of these pockets in times past, but I didn't realize I'd created this pocket until after I had this one started. And then I found the other one. And that's why it's a good idea to look at your, to not let things linger as long as I did. I think I started this according to the video, the date of the video, back in 2022. That's a little bit on the pathetic side, just saying. However, that was the reality back then. So, yeah. So what I'm going to do is, so I have, the thing is I have a backup plan. The person that is going to receive this doll, which I don't sell them, I give them away. If people, when I have time to do one, if people want me to do one when I have time, and they feel like they have to do something, they can make a contribution someplace. And that works for me. Okay. But I do not accept money for the soul support dolls. I don't sell them. I never have. And highly unlikely that I ever would. Anyway, so give me just a second. Let me stitch a little bit further on this. And then I will stop. I have been doing a lot of stitching, hand stitching lately. I've done some machine stitching with you guys, making the collaged, scrappy collaged fabric. We've made several, 3 pieces I think. I have one project actually completed out of the scrappy fabric that I did Monday night. I'm going to show that to you here in just a second. And I have a whole list of things to talk about today, so we should have plenty of things to do. And I have actually kind of pre-thought what I was going to do with you guys. But honestly, the soul support dolls, when I work on them, totally take on a life of their own. Any doll that I create, cloth doll, which I would really like to at some point create a play doll for a little girl, since I have a little girl in my life, but I haven't done that yet. But I've been contemplating that even before there was a little girl in my life. I've contemplated creating a play doll pattern and clothes, but you know, I just haven't done that. Most of the dolls that I've created and the patterning that I used to do was fell in the category of art dolls. You know, quite honestly, all the stuff I have done in my life can be taken a couple of different ways. If you guys don't mind, I'm going to just finish this. I'm really close to having this done, then I'll show it to you, okay? We'll just chat a minute. So get yourself, this will give you a chance to get a drink or something to eat or a snack or whatever. But I was thinking about, I've thought about it a lot lately, that I've done several things in my lifetime, and most of them have been misidentified or misinterpreted. So when I was making dolls and making doll patterns, that was kind of sneered at by a lot of people, because why would any grown woman do that? And and the other thing, as I've gone on to work more with mixed media and all those kinds of things, sometimes it gets a bad rap or bad misinterpretation as, in a demeaning sort of way of, oh, you're just a crafter, which I have to tell you kind of runs against the grain for me. And primarily, all the things that I have done in my life is I've been, when you hand stitch, look, when I either am busy hand stitching or I'm cleaning house, that's when my brain goes. And I start interpreting, thinking, analyzing, overanalyzing, of course. I think that you could put everything I've done, which includes teaching piano for 20 years, technically 19 years. I started when I was 15 on a piano in my bedroom at home. I honestly think that most of the things I have done in my lifetime have fallen into the category of trying to just encourage and inspire somebody else to be creative in some way. So sometimes it's with music, sometimes it's with giving people permission to play. That's where the doll making came in, the jewelry making that I used to do, the wire work and that kind of thing. All those things are just a way for me, of encouraging people to get, literally, as my business says, get creative, to believe in yourself that you can do something and that it doesn't matter what you do. And it really and truly doesn't make a hill of beans difference what somebody else thinks of what you do. And periodically, I really struggle with that concept, because I don't know why it is that the people who are the most verbal are the ones who are the most, I don't know, maybe they're jealous, I don't know. But they tend to be the ones who are the most negative. And that just, every once in a while, that grates on me to the point that I have to get my ducks in a row and, identify that it's okay to be exactly who I am, right? Okay, so let me come back and I got done what I needed to do, so I can stop yammering on about that. Okay. My heart really goes out to you, Barbara. Absolutely. I know some of the road you walked with him. I don't know the entire road, of course, but I know some of it. So big hugs and prayers to you. And those of you who can, reach out and lift up Barbara and her family. Rhonda says hand stitching is real popular now. It is. Hi, Terry. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Catherine. Yeah, they renamed her degree Art and Crafts. You know, one of the things that's funny, I live very close, well, I live in the same town with the University of Missouri. And there is a fine arts program here, of course, at the university. A really nice program. I didn't go to it. And it's so interesting. You get into this discussion of art versus craft, which honestly is a discussion I absolutely abhor. But periodically it comes back up in different venues. Yes, come here. Come here and I'll hold you a minute. We'll get off this very shortly, off this discussion. But I was thinking about this the other day, that in the fine arts department, which people tend to be so snooty about fine art. But within the fine art department, there's a craft studio. And in the craft studio, they do jewelry and pottery and, you know, metalwork and those kinds of things in the craft studio. It's still fine art, but it's the craft studio, you know? It's just ridiculous. Anyway, we'll get off that high horse, shall we? All right, enough. Hey, Sheila. I'm going to put Mr. Chance in the other room. Here he is. He says hello. He says hello. He's been a pretty good boy today, haven't you? Yep. All right. All right. Come on. Yes. Yes. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. There you go. All right. Enjoy your afternoon, buddy. Okay. So, last Monday, we did, let's talk about this collage, and then I'm going to show you a paper collage that I did a long time ago. You're going to have to sort of excuse all the mess on my desk here. Because it's part of what we're going to use, I think. So I did actually have done 3 of these lately, so I'll show them to you, and then I'll show you the one from Monday, and then I'll show you the project that resulted from it. I think it was last Friday we did these. So these are just scrappy fabrics. There you go, Angela. There you go. Hi, Angie. So this is scrappy fabric that is collaged on a white stabilizer, embroidery stabilizer, or machine stabilizer. And this was just a rainbow, red down to purpley colors. There you can see and they're machine stitched on to hold everything in place. So there's the machine stitching on that one. And on this one. So, and they're free motion stitched. So it is whatever happens, happens. I sometimes have an idea on how I'm going to do it, but sometimes not. And then all I did was just fold them in half and decide that I may make journal covers or something out of them. So there's that. Then this is the one I did Monday night, and I did it primarily red and black. That was the theme that I was going for. I fussy cut this section out right here, and it grew into this, which is called a Biscornu. Thank you, Joan. It's called a Biscornu pincushion, and this is the VIP class for this month. It's all done by hand. I love this construction made from 2 squares of fabric. Anyway, I have it in different configurations, so I'll show all of them to you. But that was what I wanted to see if it would work with the collage fabric, because I tried it in different fabrics. So this is just a quilting cotton. So quilting cotton. This is also quilting cotton on this side, but hand painted fabric from the jelly plate on this side. This is more challenging to do this because it has some paint on it, but it still worked. I added some details in the corners, but there's that. And this, I'm experimenting with sashiko, which is a Japanese running stitch embroidery technique. And these are horn or antler buttons that I found that I still had that Clausman made for me. One time when we were motorcycling all over the place, we were in Colorado, and besides that, I just like having a stack of these. We were in Colorado back when we were motorcycling, and this was one of our early motorcycling trips, and it was when the elk were shedding their antlers. And so we came home that year with 2 big racks of antlers strapped to the saddlebags of our motorcycle. You know? Hello, Sherry. Anyway, so he took the most consistently sized part of the antler and then created buttons for me. And I'd forgotten I still had those. So that was nice to be able to use those. Hello, Barbara Clark. You're time challenged? I understand. Okay, so there's that. So let's talk about a paper collage. I was organizing something in my sewing room when I ran across this. This is super old, and you'll be able to tell that here shortly. It's a very old collage, but it is well worn, and it has been in my room, in my sewing room, hanging up in there, just to be a part of my world. And it's been in there for literally years. I don't even know when I did this, but it's years and years and years old. And it came from a class that I did. I'm trying to think. It was back in the early 2000s. So the pictures are kind of faded and so forth, but anyway, it is a collage. This is there's lots of different kinds of collage. You can take collage to the fine art level. You can do collage as I usually do, which is using up stuff, using up scraps of fabric or paper or whatever. You can do collage to explore something, and that's what this was. That's what this was about. Hey, Dorothy. So that's what this was about. So the workshop that I took, and it was something about creativity, but I don't remember, honestly. I don't remember the subject matter, but this was way before I was really into this kind of thing. And so I'm like, oh, they're saying bring magazines, a variety of magazines with you of things that you're kind of interested in. Okay. And so I did. So I took different magazines, took them with me, and then I don't remember exactly what the instruction was, but it was something along the lines of go through the magazines and pull out anything that appeals to you or something along that line. It makes sense that that's what it would have been when you look at this. And as I reflect on this, there's a lot of this that hasn't changed, A lot of my interest, I do tend to have an attention span that kind of shifts, ebbs and flows. But this, as I reflect on this collage, and I don't think, there's nothing that says what year I did it, which hello, you need to date your stuff, but this is back before I was really avidly journaling. I was journaling in fits and spurts, as far as writing. It was back before I wrote the book. It was back before anything. I may have written my first doll making book. I don't remember. But anyway, so at that point in time when I was doing this, flowers were really important. That was my father's area of interest. That's what he taught, was all things flowers at the university. I had, at the point in which I did this, we had turned, not just me, we had turned our yard into a park. And I had flower beds all over my yard. I didn't just have flower beds, I had pots of flowers all over. So I had color everywhere. I had color everywhere around my house. And I had all different kinds of flowers because I wanted things that were in bloom all the time. And I didn't want to have to rebuy everything. So I had a lot of perennial stuff. I've let pretty much all of it go since then, just because there was just too much stuff that went on. And so most of it I just let go or pulled it out, dispensed with it, got rid of it. A time before anything. Yeah. And so what I did then, at this point in time, that's why you see so many flowers in the background. And this is a picture of me as a little girl with a flower arrangement. And that was from a book that my dad wrote at the university. Well, it was through, I don't know how I got roped into doing it, but it was a project booklet, not a book, but a booklet for 4-H. Which is an organization for kids. And so this was from that, and this was the title of the booklet, Fun with Flowers. And so I realized as I was going through a lot of this stuff that I've had fun with flowers for a really long time in my life, But this was done, like I said, back in the early 2000s. It also shows me some of the things that I was really interested in at time. Cloth dolls, a doll maker's journey, creativity starts here, breathing space. The ocean is always my place that pulls me when I need to breathe, when I need to refresh, when I need to regroup. The ocean calls me. That is my breathing space. And I can't always go there, but I can always go there in my head, so I can go there in my imagination. So that is what that significance of that is. The quilt squares, I've done not a lot of quilting, but I've always loved quilts. I've made a couple of quilts. I've found the groove that I like, which is art quilting. That's what I really love. And so I'd much rather do that than to make quilts that go on the bed. It's just my area of interest, right? And so that's what I like. So that's why those are in there. I love birds. I don't want to take care of them, but I almost always have a nest of birds somewhere around my house. Not because I chose it, but that's what the birds do. So I've recently had on our wind chime out in the front of my house, on the platform at the top of the wind chime, there was a nest, which I think it was purple finches. And they've all left. There's another nest on my drain pipe that's robins. The babies have hatched. They'll be leaving soon. It's amazing to me from the point that they hatch until they leave how fast that happens. Hello, Shu. Good to see you. And so, birds seem to always show up somewhere. I have never had pet birds. I don't intend to ever have pet birds, but I sure enjoy watching the birds outside. And that's been really fun. I realized that even back then that life comes in seasons for me, so that's why it's there. I also live in the Midwest in the United States, and so there are seasons that are present, specific seasons, 4 seasons here. Yeah. Terry says that they've been watching the baby eagles. Yeah, they are watching the eagles, especially, I guess you're watching them on YouTube or something. We used to watch them on Ustream. Then I think it switched to YouTube, but we used to watch several of those. They're fascinating to watch. The only time I couldn't handle it was when the parent eagles would bring up a rabbit or a kitten or something. I'm like, no, can't do that. Nope, cannot do that. Can't. I understand the cycle of life, but I can't do that. Anyway, let's see what else. So there's different kinds of birds here and stuff. These pictures here show the evolution of me. Okay, this is Claus Man. That's Race. These pictures are probably this is probably 2 years apart. So that's probably the span of time there. This was when I was almost 200 pounds and had to get my act together. And this was after the weight loss journey at that point. Weight and food has always been a kind of a journey for me. But this was my aha moment in this picture. When I saw this picture of myself, I'm like, I could not possibly look like that. And you go, yeah, girl, you did. Yep, girl, you did. So it's interesting to take something like this, and I just thought I would show it to you because it was on my table. It actually fell off the wall, so I got to put it back on the wall. And this is just a basket of spa things, apple, banana, lemon. I think that might be I'm not sure what that is. Sponge. It's a sponge. And different products, because I'm a big believer in a good bath, a good soaking bath. I know some people don't like a bath, but I happen to love it. So those kinds of things are really important to me. Hello, Vale. So I encourage you, if you feel led or want to, this is a good exercise. Include some pictures of yourself, and just don't stress out over it. Just start going through magazines, pulling stuff out, and just see what happens. So anyway, I just thought I would show you that. There's different ways and different purposes for collage. In other words, you can use up scraps. You can use a collage like that to just sort of get a picture of what's going on, or to span a timeline, so there's a lot of things you can do. Use them. Thanks, Barbara. Okay, so what I have and what I put in the description was finishing this soul support doll. So here is where she is at the moment. We did a lot of this on stream, but I don't think we did all of it. But here she is. I have a friend who I'm hoping that I'll get to see next week. I don't know if I will, but I'm kind of hoping I get to see her. And she's experiencing a real difficult journey health-wise at the moment. And so I don't know if I'll get to see her, but if I do, excellent. And I wanted to take this to her. And if I don't get to see her, then I can certainly send it to her. Anyway, so here she is. Her face, in case you didn't see the process, her head is needle sculpted. And she's colored with colored pencils and micron pens. Her body is done with the felting machine and different kinds of fiber on top of a wool felt base. Her necklace is handmade beads. So these are handmade fabric beads that are up there at the necklace. This is a tag that I made. These are done with recycled dog, like rabies tags, with my own handmade papers. The ribbon is a silk ribbon or rayon ribbon. It's a rayon ribbon that is on there. And this is the back. Her hair or head wrap is created using produce bags. I like this specific kind of produce bag. There are different ones out there. And I've used several. I'll show you another one. Let me get it. This is another one, and it's pretty much the same style produce bag, but I particularly like those when I'm not in the mood to do hair on one of the dolls. And then I have a giant bag of these produce bags that I've saved. I don't need any more. Every once in a while somebody will send me produce bags. Don't do that, because I have a plenty. So these are two different styles of dolls. This one is from the class Mining Your Muse, which I taught. It's an online class, and so that's that. But I really like the produce bags because I just, hair. I think that if I have one challenge with the dolls when I'm creating them, it's the hair. There are so many ways to do hair, and I've done most of them, I think. And my favorite thing, honestly, is to use the produce bags in place of hair. And on this one, she has some curls, and this is something I started a while back, using some of the dyed mohair curls just as kind of accents to stick under there to suggest that she has a full head of hair. She doesn't. She only has, and there's some up here, the curls up here. She only has a few curls. Right, Barbara, I know. The produce bags are great. As long as they are these, which for me, I think are the best ones. They're the soft. There are soft produce bags, and then there are the ones that are like a real plasticky created bag. These are plastic. It's not that they're not. They're plastic, but they're soft, and I just like the way that they work. Anyway, so that was all done apparently in 2022, which I did not know. So I thought that we would kind of work on her a little bit more. This probably isn't going to get done on stream, but we'll talk about it anyway. I always include an envelope on the back of the doll. This is a die. It's a Tim Holtz die called Envelope with Ornate Flap, I believe. And when I saw this, I have had it for years. When I saw this, I'm like, that is like the perfect size. Little tiny envelope. You can always make your own envelope, but let's be frank. It's much easier to just die cut the fabric than to have to reinvent the wheel every time. Thank you, Joan. Barbara uses the produce bags on her jelly plate. Yeah, that's good too. Oh, I love the orange produce bags. Yep, I love those. I have a whole bunch of those because I love them. Hi, Krissa. Good to see you. And so, anyway, this cuts out on it's a big die. So it's one of the thick ones, so you can do, big fabric. You can do other things too. But what it does is it makes the crease for the envelope. And so you do have to have enough thickness to your fabric. Like this is a batik fabric. You have to have enough thickness that it doesn't actually cut the fabric in those places. So I almost always put something on the, well, I do always put something on the back. So in this case, it's actually a stabilizer, an embroidery or sewing machine stabilizer that I die cut at the same time as the fabric, because the fabric sometimes does not want to die cut unless it has something added to it. This is another example. This is the one I found that I had already prepared, but I had lost it. So this is one I prepared in advance. And this has interfacing, fusible interfacing ironed to the inside of the fabric. And then it's run through the die cut machine. Okay. The color is slightly different if it has the dark stabilizer versus the white interfacing. So it does affect the color. I actually prefer this one, but I have this one done in case. This one I stitched by machine, stitched around the outside edge of it, of the entire thing. You have to do something to make sure that the two layers don't separate. And then I just whip stitched the little edges together here like this. Okay, so I just whip stitched those together. I decided that on this one I was going to hand stitch, just do a wonky hand whip stitch around the edges. And it is wonky, and it is done that way on purpose because the friend that I'm going to give this to, that she would like better than this. Okay. Yes, there is a stream, and it's back in, I think it was August of 22. Yeah. So what I do with these is I put them on the back of the dolls after I sew these little flaps together. I do that ahead, of course, so that the pocket is constructed. And then, I'm going to put something on the, you have to put something on the flap because otherwise it pokes up. Okay, so you got to do something. And I'm not going to do a snap or a buttonhole or any of that kind of stuff. Okay, so I'm going to put something on this. I almost always put a bead or a tassel or something on there, so we'll do that. And then I stitch around the outside edge. But I include these on the back, and I most of the time use the fabric that's on the back, and this is batik fabric that is on the back. And then I include this little thing that was put together by Patty Simkowitz, I think is how her name is pronounced, and it's called Soul Confidant. When you feel the need to unburden your spirit, know that I am always with you, dear friend. I am the recipient of all your secrets, and I hold them fast in the chambers of my faithful heart. Confide in me and receive in return comfort and tender love. So that, then I will use this one because it's stitched together. I include that in the little pocket in the back. And it's also a little place that if they have things, the recipient, if they have things that they want to include, you know, like prayers or whatever kinds of things that they might, you know, want to put someplace special, that little pocket at least can hold. It holds not a ton, but it holds a little bit of stuff. So, yeah. So that's what goes inside the pocket. Now, the fact that we probably won't get this pocket stitched on today, I wanted you to see how it was. The other thing I add to the back of the doll, because we're going to work mostly on the front of the doll. We're going to actually, if we get the tassel made for this doll for the bottom of her, that will be excellent. What I do to the back is I like these little brass rings, but you can also get these little plastic curtain rings. It really doesn't make any difference which one you use, but I always add one of those to the back so that she can hang on a wall if she wants to hang on the wall, and you can see one right here on this one. So, and because it's movable, it's easy to hang up. The challenge sometimes is to get the doll to hang properly, so that she'll hang straight and not, list one way or the other. But it's small enough that, if the person doesn't want to use it, then they can just bend it down and it can just be an ornament. Okay? So I will put that on the back in case she wants to hang her up. Sometimes people want to put them, if they're bedridden or something, they'll put them above their beds and that kind of thing. Hello, Nora. Okay, so let's go back here. We'll set this aside for now. So those are the things we'll do if we have time. And maybe what I can do before this is stitched together is I can put whatever it is I'm going to put on the flap here. We can do that. So we can do that. As you can clearly see, my mat still says that it is a mess and it needs to be replaced. But it hasn't been, and it probably won't be replaced anytime soon. So I have an assortment of all kinds of stuff, most of which I don't know where it came from. Actually, I like that. So, when you don't know, kind of what, yeah, I like that. I have no idea where it came from, but it's already got a way to stitch it on, so that's excellent. So I might just go ahead and use that. I have learned not to second guess them most of the time. Not always, but most of the time. I'll take a quick look through some of the other things that I have just to see if anything else strikes my fancy more so, or in addition to. I think that that's going to be it. I think that's what we're going to do. Okay? All right. So what I'm going to use, and what I do most of the time, is most of the time we'll construct these using a beading thread. I find beading thread, you could use quilting thread, but I tend to go with beading thread because it's strong. And I would like for these not to come apart over time. Doesn't mean that they won't. And this kind of thing I never give to children. I don't think you got to see the beading thread because I'm zoomed in too far. This is the beading thread that I use. It's silicamide. This is my favorite thread. It comes in colors. It comes on a big spool like that. It's not the cheapest thing in the world, but you get a ton of yardage. Comes on, I don't know if it still does, but I used to buy it on cards like this, and there you see the name of it, silicamide, or on the spools, and it comes in lots of colors. So there you go. Okay, so I am going to, let me get I think you've seen the needles long enough for reels. And so what I'm going to do is just get my needle ready to go with a knot, a tiny knot in the end of the thread, I hope. And then I clip off. So I do have an exceedingly tiny thread there, knot there. Anyway, we'll see if it holds. If it doesn't, I'll have to go back and make a bigger one. Okay. Thank you, Krissa. I've made a ton of them over the years, and I've given all of them away except for one. I still have one, and she's one of the very first ones I made. They evolve over time, you know. That's just the way that's just the nature of making things. Whatever I make evolves. It's very hard for me to do the same thing twice. And so I'm just anchoring my thread. So yesterday I got up and I needed to edit video right away because I needed to get the class all the details for the VIP class. All the details needed to be done yesterday morning. Okay? And that works out real well until you come down to the studio, and I had my coffee and I'm all ready to do my work and to get started. And the editing process, takes a while. And when I do this kind of stuff, I like sewing this little embellishment on here. I just kind of go with it and see what it wants to be and how it wants to happen here. All right, I gotta look here, and you get the thread tangled up, and that just goes with it. That's just part of the process. I'll just see whether okay. Anyway, so I came down into the studio to do my thing, and I hit the key because my computer was asleep. I have an iMac. Computer was asleep. It woke up and it starts blinking. The monitor is blinking on and off, on and off, on and off, on and off. And I'm like, holy cow. Something has gone terribly awry with my computer. Okay, this is very bad news because that's where I have to do all the work is on the iMac. And then I have a second monitor, which is also essential in the process. And it is alternately blinking on and off, on and off, on and off in a haphazard way. And the mouse is wandering, the icon for the mouse is wandering around on the screen by itself. And I'm like, this is such bad news. I don't know what is going on here. Okay, so I've got this embellishment anchored on here, and now I need to do a little something else to kind of neaten this up a little bit. I think, yes, it needs to be neatened up a little bit. So I have an assortment of jingle bells. I always like to include elements of sound. I don't know where my tiny little, I had a whole bunch of little bitty gold bells. I don't know where they are. I have little red ones. I don't know that I want to use red ones though. Yeah, because that's a tiny little gold one there. I don't know where those are. All right, let me let me digress for just one moment and get my box of, where is my box of stuff? There it is. Let me see if I can find the jingle bells. Anyway, so the computer is, I mean, I've never seen it do what it did. Never, ever, ever have I seen it do what it was doing. And to be honest, it kind of freaked me out a little bit, because when the mouse is kind of moving around wherever it wants to. Ooh, this is good. These are good. I don't know if I can make these work, but I'm going to try and make something work on this. Anyway, with the mouse moving around and everything flashing and blinking, I'm like, oh. It's like, this is not good at all. So anyway, what I found were these little beads. So let's see if we can make this work a little bit more with something in this. I like this. Let's see what kind of, I think this is a bead. Yeah, it's a horizontal bead, horizontally drilled. This is a brown one, an oval. I don't even know where these came from. I have no idea. Okay, let's see. First of all, the first thing I got to do is I have to see whether my needle that I have here, because this is not a beading needle. We'll see if the needle will pass through this bead. Oh, not very easily, but it will. Okay. Okay, so what I'd like to do is this. Okay. Sorry, while I'm thinking here, you get to watch. This is exactly how I do these. I just I just sort it out as I go. I make it up, another word for make it up as I go along. Okay, if the thread's not in the right spot, I just move it over. Okay. So let me string this bead on here. We want it this way or this way? Maybe this way. Maybe this way. So I am a little freaked out because my computer's not cooperating, and I all of a sudden think I see my plans for the day go up in smoke, because I'm like, race is a long way away, and I've got to troubleshoot this first and see if I can figure out what in the world is going on. Okay, I'm not the youngest person on the planet. This is not my first. This is not my first career. I did not grow up with computers. Any of you who are beaters, don't collapse at the way that I approach this, okay? Okay, let me come back across. Because this is literally how I go about figuring things out like this. So anyway, computers are not my first thing. And so none of anything that has to do with a computer does not come very naturally to me at all. Okay? So I start with, all right, I'm going to restart the computer. that's what I got to do. Restart the computer. And my son always tells me not to force it to shut down. Except the mouse is moving with a mind of its own around on the screen all by itself. And so I'm not quite sure how to wrangle the mouse, so I'm going on a mouse wrangling expedition, as it were, trying to get it to cooperate with me. I like it. I like that. Hello, Hermie. Yep, the mouse is doing exactly what it wanted, whenever it wanted. It moved where it wanted. It was doing what it wanted, and it did not ask permission. So I finally managed to get it to cooperate just long enough to get it to go up into, on an iMac or on an Apple computer, you can go up to the Apple in the upper left hand corner of the screen. And I got it to go up there. All right, that'll work. It's loosey-goosey, but not too bad. And that hides the connection to this, and I can deal with that. Okay. So I got up there and went into the drop-down menu and got it to restart. And I'm like, okay, process of elimination. I'm going to restart the computer, and the mouse cooperated just long enough for me to do that. And I restarted, and it takes a minute for it to all come back up. The second monitor didn't wake up. It's still, black, and I'm like, oh, that's not good, because I need that. And then the next, everything wakes up finally, and I'm thinking, okay, it's all good. And then the same problem started again. So everything's flashing. And the second monitor at this time has come on, and it's flashing. And I'm like, oh, I can't even tell you how my heart is just sinking over this, because I have so much stuff I need to get done yesterday. But I'm calm, sort of. And I am processing, I'm going through all the things that race has taught me. And so one at a time, then I think, okay, well, now it's time for me to work on, it's probably a cord or a plug, because I've had that happen before where something goes bad, right? Oh, thanks, Sherry. Yep, that too, Terry. That too. Well, because Race lives in California and space is at a premium there where he lives. Okay, so there's my little envelope. I like things with movement. I like things that have significance. So there is what I have, and it's heavy enough that this little flap, I'm trying to show you so that you can see it, will go shut and stay shut. There's enough weight that it will hold the envelope closed. So success. Okay, so I'm just going to stick the little message inside there so I know that I have it, and then I will finish, I'll complete that and hopefully stitch it together later. If not, I will take it with me and I will finish it where I'm going. Okay, I'm done with these beads. I think I can put these back in the plastic bag. So, space is at a premium. That's where I was. And so, in order to control all the cords and all that stuff is, I have two tables back to back, and I have a section of of shelving and stuff that's between the tables, and that's where all the cords are thoroughly attached. And I do mean thoroughly attached. So it's under the table and everything's attached back there. I mean, it is, when Race is finished putting together a system, it is a work of art. And I'm not even kidding. It's a work of art. All the cords are wrapped neatly, but not, it's not bound together, but it's neat, and it's, Velcroed, and it's a work of art, which I have ceremoniously taken apart over the years since we installed this current system. That's right, Terry. That is right. Okay, so while I am thinking about this stuff, while I'm talking to you about that, I'm going to sort of go through this is my needle case. That's why it's here. It's just there to have something on the screen. I'm going to collect the stuff that I'm going to use to put, because what I like is to have a nice big dangle or tassel or whatever down here at the bottom, hanging from the bottom, the bottom end of this doll. So I have a collection of things that I kind of pulled together, and so we're going to see. Sometimes I make it separately and then attach the whole thing together. In this case, I'm just going to, I think, just put things kind of, maybe I don't know what I'm going to do exactly. I may go get some ribbon out of my room and start with a piece of ribbon. There's some things that I always include with these, that I always put on the dolls. One is this little tiny heart that says "Made with Love," which I bought a 75 piece set, which is another one of those things that I'm sure I'm never gonna use it up, because I've been working on these for a long time. Still have them. I have these little charms. Exactly, Barbara. I know. He's amazing. He really is incredible when it comes to this stuff. Anyway, then I have these little charms that used to have different words on them. The only ones I have left are the one, and it's only two more after this one. It says "Trust." And then I always put some things that make noise. And one of the things I really like are these. They are fishing lure things. I don't know what this one is, but maybe it's a fishing lure thing. I don't know. But I have a bunch of those that I used to have. Clausman, because he was quite a fisherman, had a lot of these. And I kept all of the old ones. Like this one, for example. That poor old thing has fished, and it's twisted, and it's bent, and it's perfect for these kinds of things. So I might use that one instead. So anyway, when I go into fishing stores. Yes, I do. One of my favorite places is Bass Pro, and I love to go back and look at the fishing lure stuff. They have wonderful, in the fly tying section, they have wonderful fibers, and you can get little tiny bits. Now you can pay an arm and a leg for it, because that's how they charge you. But they're wonderful, and they make wonderful embellishments for dolls. But for a long time, I was using up all the recycled things that Clausman had. because he saved them all for me. And so I used all those, and then I ran out. So then I had to start buying my own. Anyway, but his were great, because especially the copper ones, because they would get all aged and patinaed, and oh, they were wonderful. Another thing I like are wind chime. One time Artie Dar sent me a bunch of wind chime pieces. Oh, they were just delightful. I'm telling you, they were absolutely wonderful. And they were kind of a ceramic, or they were pottery of some kind. And I used those for a long time. And so they're great. Anyway, I'm looking for a hand. I try to always include a hand and wings, and either a butterfly or a dragonfly with these dolls. I don't know why, I just do. Okay? Can't tell you why, just know that I do. So I buy collections of wing charms, butterfly charms, dragonfly charms, butterfly just wings, whole butterflies. I buy them in different sizes. I love feathers. That's another one. And then I love the anything that makes noise. So I try to use things that are tactile, so hopefully it feels good to the person that gets it. I put words on them. One of my favorite things is to use some of the Tim Holtz token things, the ones that have phrases that are long. I will put those. I'll hang those vertically, so you have to read it like this, but it's fine. So I like those kinds of things. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a second, and I probably am all over the place telling you this stuff, because that's where my head is. I'm going to go in here in the sewing room where chance is, so this could be disastrous, but whatever. And I'm going to go get some ribbon and bring that back. And let me see if I can get something and not bring him out with me. So I'll be right back. Okay, success. He's sun-drunk in the window. That's good. Yeah, he's sun-drunk, so we're okay. Where was I? So I've given you an idea of the kinds of things I put on these. So I have my little collection of stuff, some of which or all of which may go. These are beads that I made. No, I mean, I didn't make the bead. I bought the beads, but then I did the wire work to turn them into what I wanted, which was a charm. And so this is a bead. Some of these, the holes are, that's pretty big. That's okay. This is one that's made from, I think, Fun Foam, maybe. I'm not sure. It's one I made. This is something that somebody sent me, so is that. But this is a good collection of things to use. So I'm going to just kind of move those over. And then I'm going to start with something, I think, that will let me attach some of this stuff to the ribbon. Oh, this is good. I love this kind of ribbon, this organza ribbon. I like that a lot. This is good, good color. This one is similar but different. This has the blues. I don't even know where some of this stuff comes from. I collect it, or people have sent stuff to me or have given things to me, and you know, so I end up with all this stuff. You can't see that for love nor money. So there are those ribbons. These are different kinds of silk ribbons and rayon ribbons. And seam binding. This is rayon seam binding. This is ribbon that somebody, I think somebody did all this ribbon for me. I think they dyed it and sent it to me. I think. That's where this came from. That's where this came from this bag, I think. And so this is exactly how I process what I want to do, because I just look until I find the thing that says, this is the thing. I'm kind of drawn to this thin. This is silk ribbon. Okay, so once I make a decision, which can take a while, or I just pick the first thing that comes to my thought process, then I stuff all this stuff back in the baggies and stuff it back in the big bag. And then if I ever need it to be nice and flat, then I have to get out the iron. Which, by the way, Monday night when I was doing that other one, I had that heat away stabilizer that I was using. I remembered why I hated it. That was a mess. I thought, well, that's the end of that iron. And it took me quite a while, and I got the bottom of it completely clean. But I think a new iron might be in my future before long, before I get into any fine sewing. If I ever do that, I'm gonna have to spring for a new iron, just to make sure. Hot iron cleaner and elbow grease, and I got it cleaned. Set off my smoke detectors twice, by the way. Fortunately, I'm not directly wired into any monitoring company, or they would have had the fire department here. So I had to open windows and, you know, get the ceiling fan going, and, you know, my smoke detector lady, the lady in the smoke detector is saying, fire, fire. And I'm like, okay. And it's blinking, you know, it's, and I'm like, it's not, okay, it's not. It's just my iron. It's done this before. At least I know the thing works, you know. I know that it works, so this is good. I know. Anyway, got it. I got it clean, and then I'm like, you know, now I remember why I hated that stuff, because it makes a mess. You really need to, if you're going to use a heat away stabilizer, you need to be able to tear as much of it or cut as much of it away as you possibly can. You know, anyway, I couldn't do that because of the way that what I was going to do with the project, which you saw the pincushion I made from it. So it's not washable. Couldn't use a wash away stabilizer, you know? Okay, so back to the desk. So I'm going to use this because I like it. It is silk ribbon. And so I think what I'm going to do here is is I'm just going to start making a little dangle thing, and it does not make any difference how good it is. Perfection is not required. Alright, so I'm going to put 5 strands of this together like so. Okay, so it's just 5 little strands that will hang from the bottom, and I'm going to, at this moment, I'm going to just stitch these together. This is truly how I do this. I don't really care if it's right, if it's wrong, if it's good, if it's bad. It doesn't matter. It is more about the process of allowing my hands to just simply do the work that the more I get my head out of it, the better the results are. Oh yeah, hot iron cleaner outside is always the best. Yeah, always best. So anyway, back to the computer. So nothing was making my computer situation resolve, and I crawl under the table, because at that moment I didn't have sense enough to separate the 2 tables. When we put the system together, separating the tables was really risky business, very hard to do, so it didn't really occur to me that I didn't have to worry about that now. But you know, would have been good if I'd thought about that, but I didn't. So I'm crawling under the table with my phone, with the flashlight feature on in my phone. So you got the picture. I'm 70, almost 71 years old, and I'm crawling around on the floor under the table. Yeah, it's not a pretty picture. It's not easy to do, and yeah. Okay, you got it. You got the picture. And so now I'm also having to trace chords. Now, I also, fortunately, I'm even impressed and surprised about this, but when we put this system in place, we took time, because I asked Race to help me do this. I said, I need to label both ends of each chord so I know what they are. And he thought that was a good idea. And you know what? It was a very good idea. And most of the tapes, most of it has stayed in place. Okay, why are you being ornery? Yeah, most of the tape has stayed in place, and that has been very handy, because then I know what cord is plugged into the device, and then I can eventually, hopefully, trace it down to the place that it plugs into the electricity or the whatever splitter, you name it. Something always plugs into something else. Okay, so I start finding the cords that because I think it's probably the monitor that has fouled the system, because it's done that before. So because it was a used monitor when we started it. And so I found that, and so all right, I'm going to let this thread, this is going to drive me crazy, but I'm going to let it dangle, because I'm going to need this thread for attaching it to the doll in a little bit. So I'm going to just try to let that not frustrate the life out of me. And then I'm going to start attaching things to this and just see what happens. Okay? Alright, let's just start, and we'll just see what happens here. So I need my needle and some thread. I'm still using beading thread just because it's here. So I unplug and I count to 15 or whatever, and then I replug, and then I come back around to crawl out from under the table, because it took me a long time to get sense enough to separate the tables. And crawl out, come around, look, nothing, same problem, go back, go to the next thing. So I have problem solved everything that I can problem solve. Okay? Now, I will tell you what irritates me probably about as much in life as about anything is having to wave the white flag. Okay, Barbara. Exactly, Rhonda. So I waste a good 40 minutes probably trying everything I know, because I really, really, really don't want to bother my son. I really don't. I mean, I just really don't want to bother him at all. Because I know he's busy. He's working on a huge project. I really don't want to bother him. And I finally have to wave the white flag, and that's irritating. It's kind of like today when I realized that my water softener was out of salt. And it's not that I don't have salt. I have salt. But it beats me why these companies think that putting salt in 50-pound bags is a great idea. That everybody in the world can lift a 50-pound bag of salt, which is moving around, it squirrels around, and that you can lift it up high enough to get it into the water softener, and why they think that is such a winning idea. And when you live by yourself, it's just like, I got to figure this out. I got to figure it out. Anyway. So it's annoying to me to have to wave the white flag. All right. Let me get this knot in here without pulling it through. Anyway, so I had to wave the white flag, and I had to call Race. I sent him a text, and I said, is there any chance you can help me with a computer issue? And he said, music to my ears. He said, sure, in about 5 minutes or something like that. And I'm like, aw, that's good. Gonna take care of his mom. And sure enough, he called me and he said, what you got? And so I start explaining what the gremlins are doing to my computer. And I go through all the things I've tried. And he said, well, you did all the things you needed to do to problem solve it. And I said, to troubleshoot it. And I said, and I was actually fairly impressed with that. To tell you the truth, I was fairly impressed. Okay. You have a wayward mouse. Oh, shoot. Okay, so here's what I've done. I've just taken this little charm. I've threaded the ribbon through it, and I've just wound the thread around it, and then I've stitched once. And now I'm going to come to the back. And I'm going to make a little knot, and I'm going to say, okay, that worked. Quite honestly, I don't think I've ever done this exactly this way before. So that's okay. It's good to learn. It's good to learn a new thing, new idea. So I'm going to knot it a couple times and cut the thread, and then we'll go to the next one. So anyway, he was asking me more questions, and finally, because it's been a while. He's the one that put the system together, but it's been quite a while since he's had anything to do with it. And so he's asking me questions, and finally he, and it really didn't take very long. It took about 5 minutes from him. Now, I've worked on it for 45 minutes, but it took about 5 minutes. And he says, well, I think the splitter's gone bad. He said, but we don't even need that anymore, so you can take that out of the system. Of course, I have to figure out what that means, but he said we don't even use that anymore, so it can go away. And he said that's probably what's gone bad. And you know what? He was exactly right. That's why he gets paid the big bucks. Yep, he gets paid the big bucks. Okay, so I have the thread with a knot in it, ready for the next one. Okay, so there's that. Okay, let's take this one, and we'll just pick another one of these, and let's see if we can do that again. That worked the first time, so let's make it work a second time. And so that's what it was. As soon as we got the splitter thing, there were two of them actually, neither one of them were necessary. As soon as I got those out of the mix, you know what? It all worked. And I was able to go to work. Of course, it was 1 o'clock in the afternoon by the time I get all that taken care of. And yeah. Okay, so we're just gonna put this on here. And so there you go. If you have a splitter in your system, it could be the culprit for causing things not to work properly. So you're welcome if that helps you. Oh, that's great. That makes me feel wonderful. Oh goodness, yeah. So it goes. All right, so I've stuck this ribbon in here. I hope that I have it at a different level than the first one. We're going to find out, aren't we? So we're going to see if let's go this way. See if we can just repeat what we did a minute ago. So secure that little bit, that little end there, and then I'm going to just wrap it with some thread. That worked. Okay, and then knot it off. Okay, this is working. So anyway, that was my computer woe. To have a computer with a mind of its own was not cool. To have a computer with a mind of its own and a mouse that had gone rogue. Yeah, I had never seen that before. And one of the things that Ray said to me was that he was on a set one time. He was on a movie set or production set. I don't know what he was doing, but he was on the set. And the guy that was running all the tech was, he said he just kind of, everything's on a time schedule on the production set, whether it's for movies or television or whatever whatever it is. It's always on, everything's on a time schedule. And so, they're always in a hurry. And he said the guy never hurried. And so finally, I guess Race asked him something about, how things were going or whatever. And he goes, oh, fine, everything's going fine. And they got to talking about computers and some of the stuff that computers do from time to time, unusual things that computers do. And the guy said to him, he said, one of the cardinal rules about computers is never let it know you're in a hurry. I thought that is brilliant. That is brilliant. Words of wisdom. Never let your computer know you're in a hurry. Isn't that great? That is rich. That is rich. Okay, I'm going to cut this so I get rid of that little extra. Isn't that great? Never let your computer know you're in a hurry. Time is money. Okay, so that's what we have so far. All right, let's add this little gizmo here. And the reason I'm using the ribbon is because the hole is big enough so far on these things that I can do that. So mark it down. Never let your computer know you're in a hurry. VIP members, if you're watching this either live or in the recording, there is no live class this month. However, your class is live and online for your viewing pleasure. Just a side note. Okay, so let's see, where do we want this one to dangle? Maybe a little bit lower. There we go. That's the sound I'm talking about. Yeah, that's the sound I'm talking about. I love it. Hear it? Yeah. Okay, so that'll work for that one. Okay, good. All right, we'll put this one together. Not too taut, not too high. Just a little bit. I don't want them at the same level, but I want them far enough apart from each other that nothing, I don't want them in a straight line. Okay? All right, what else do I need to tell you about? Oh, the other day, Ray sent me a picture. I don't know which night it was, don't remember, doesn't matter. He sent me a picture, and it was a picture of bees, a swarm of bees. He was watching the Dodgers baseball game. I don't know if this was in Los Angeles or if this was away from there, but anyway, it was a Dodgers game. Some of you may know the answer to the question. And a swarm of bees had come in during the game. He said it took about 20 minutes, and apparently, I guess the queen came with them. I don't know. She found a new place to live, or stopped for the night or something. And I really don't know because I didn't read any of the coverage about it. But the swarm of bees came in right behind home plate, about 30 feet up on the fence, and swarmed in there. And then, of course, they were bothering the players, and who knows whom else they were bothering. And they had to call off the game, not for a rain delay, but for a bee delay. And they had to get a beekeeper to come in and remove the swarm. Now, I personally really like baseball, and I've been to a few, not many, but a few baseball games. Not very many, but I've been to a few live baseball games, some college games too. Used to go to baseball games when Race played baseball and when he was a little boy and stuff. But I have to tell you, I have never ever been anywhere where a baseball game was went into delay because of bees. That's crazy. And he said, Race was giving me updates, and he tells me, he said, yeah, they keep playing the Beatles song, Let It Be, Let It Be. Isn't that funny? Ah. Oh, good for you, Dorothy. Dorothy was a patient? Another patient's wife. That's great. She was able to help him know what to do. That is great. Good for you. Bye, Barbara. Get some rest as much as you can. As much as you can. Okay, so that's what we have so far. And this little thing right here, this last one I added, could have been a little shorter, but you know, it is what it is. We will, if I need to make it, actually, I probably should make it shorter, so I probably should just do that while I'm thinking about it. Let's see if I can just snip the thread and do it. You know, I know myself well enough to know that if I don't just stop and redo it, I'm not going to be happy. Because that's how it is here. Anyway, so yeah, that was the bee story. And it was national news and stuff. It wasn't just on the... Although, I don't watch the news. I hate watching news. I find it depressing and very upsetting. It does not help my day. And so I avoid the news at all costs. If something really bad has happened, there's always somebody to tell me. And I have been accused from time to time, people in my life, for being uninformed and not caring. And it's like, okay. But I am indeed a better person. I'm indeed a better person because I don't allow it to control my day or my thoughts or my life. Anyway, my blood pressure certainly doesn't go up because of it. Okay, so let's see if that's going to be better. It doesn't need to be quite that. Okay, maybe right about there. Okay, let's go back down here so you can actually see what I'm doing. Yeah, so I got myself ready. Again, I need to reknot the thread. Goodbye, Sherry. Have a good weekend and a good week next week. These are so shiny that they pick up. I forgot what these things are called. I did know. I have known what they are, but I can't for the life of me remember what they are now. These shiny things. They're shiny on purpose because they help attract the fish. All right, let's see if this works better. It should. So that was the bee story. Yeah, isn't that crazy? Swarm of bees. Took 20 minutes for this enormous hive of bees to come in there. They brought in, the beekeeper showed up, and I think what he did was he vacuumed them up and to safely remove them to relocate the swarm. I did not know the bees did things like that. I'm not educated. When it comes to bees, I'm not up on my bee, I don't even know the word, how they live, what they do, where they go, how they behave. I'm not up on all that. I know they're important. I do know that. So let's see. One of the things I was going to tell you guys too today, since we're sort of getting close to the end of the stream, is I'm feeling much better. My body is feeling better. My head's feeling better, which I'm very grateful for. I have felt crappy, honestly. To put it bluntly, I have felt crappy since I got back in the middle of March. I had 3 sinus infections back to back. I had one fever blister. I mean, this is like way too much information. I know that. I had one fever blister after another after another. I lost count of how many I had till I finally had to call the doctor. I waved the white flag again. Had to call the doctor and ask for an antiviral medication, which I've had before, which helps. And I needed to just interrupt the cycle so that I could get control of what in the world was going on. Okay, that's better. This one was down too far. They were almost the same. I love the sound. I love the sound. Okay, let's put a jingle bell on too. We can put a jingle bell on, and we will. This is an old jingle bell. Okay, this is an old one. So anyway, I did that. Some of you know I was dealing with dizziness. A lot of dizziness, and I was like, it's like, what is going on? You know, it could have been any number of things. The little gal that used to help me with Clausman, she's graduating next week and moving away and starting her real life, and she is a physical therapy student. And I had pretty much, because of Dr. Google and just past experience, I pretty much had determined that the issue was the crystals in my ear had gotten, which I didn't even know there was such a thing until not too long ago when somebody said to me, they were talking about, I don't know, maybe they were talking about me or themselves. I don't remember. Anyway, somebody was talking about the crystals in the ear getting displaced and that kind of stuff. And I'm like, what in the world is that about? Well, it's a thing. And it's part of your system of, there's a fancy name for it. Anyway, if the crystals in your ear get dislodged and they wander around and they're not where they're supposed to be, it causes you to be dizzy. Is that the Epley maneuver, Terry? I think that's what it is. Anyway, I had done enough research that when I talked to her, because usually you need to have a physical therapist work with you to help you. You don't want to do it necessarily until you know what you're doing. It's a lot easier if you have somebody else help you. And so I had met Allison is her name. I had met her for coffee one morning, and I told her, what I was dealing with, and she started telling me right away what it was, and she said, I'll come over and help you. And so she did the next week, and I was pretty sure I knew which ear it was, and it was, I had done enough process of elimination things that I was pretty sure I'd figured out, which ear it was, that it was only on one side, and it happened to be the one that I had an ear infection, a bad ear infection in a year ago, and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, all right, let's see if this works. Okay. And so she came over, and in about 30 minutes we did it, and I started feeling much better. It's just, basically it's a couple of positions of the head, but it's really good if you have somebody else to help you. I've had to do it one more time since then, But with any luck, that's going to take care of that. But it affects your balance, and you got to be real careful. When your balance goes, there are a lot of things that can go south, Okay, my jingle bell's not super jingly, but might have to put another jingle bell on there, one that's got a little more jingle to it. We'll use a different size. Okay, let's put that on. We'll put that on at some point here. Okay. All right. It's coming along. It's coming along. Okay. And then let's put on either this or this will work, because I can put this through this thing, although I like that color combination better. I'll never get that ribbon through there. That's okay. I'll figure it out. So anyway, the whole upshot of this is that I'm feeling better. When you feel crappy, let's see if we can make this. When you feel physically crappy, everything is worse, right? Things are bigger. Things are where you can just deal with situations ordinarily. You can just deal with things. Sometimes when you feel physically crappy long enough and it wears you out, and I wasn't sleeping well, and when you get to that place where things just wear you out, everything becomes bigger and badder and more okay, hold on a minute. I got to get this needle through here, and this is so thin. All right, we'll see if it works. Okay, we're gonna see if we can make this work. I may have to rethread and go to a oh no, it's gonna work. Okay, good. Thought I might have to go to a beading needle, and that's like the last thing I want to do, because beading needles are so tiny. Anyway, everything is bigger and worse, right? So feeling physically better makes your emotional state also better. Emotional and psychological state is also better. But when your body does not throw off infections like it should, that becomes a real thing. Then you got to rehab your immune system, and it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing, people. It's a whole thing. All right. So let's see here if we can do this. I need this bell back here. Let's see if we can do this. All right, let me get rid of the needle. That'll help. What I need to do here is I need to wrap the thread around this. So anyway, I guess the reason I'm telling you all that is, first of all, it's real life. And also, thank you guys for being patient, because you have seen me a couple of times recently at my less than stellar self. Okay, so that should work. Now I need to knot the thread. So anyway, okay, let's knot the thread off and let's see how this looks. I hope I don't have to go back and cut this one off and reposition it. I guess I should look, shouldn't I, before I knot it? Get the needle back on the thread. Okay, let's see. Let's try it. It's okay. It's on the same kind of level as that, but it's okay. I'm going to live with that one where it is. Okay, so I'm going to knot this off. And yeah, so I just wanted to thank you guys for hanging in there with me and being patient with the fact that I'm showing up, but clearly not feeling my best. So thank you for that. Okay, so there's that one. And I wonder if, okay, all of those have a thing on them. Yeah, all of those have a thing. Each end has a thing. It's going to be a nice long dangly thing. And I think what I'm going to do is, because all I am after is the sound element, I'm going to see, let's see if we can do this. This may work great and it may not, you know? So I've come kind of to the front of that. I'm going to put this bell on here. And I'm going to attempt to leave a little. I'm going to attempt to let this bell dangle. So we'll see if I'm successful here. Okay? Okay, and since this is beading thread, I'm not going to go through and do anything else to it because it's got beading thread on it. Beading thread is nice and strong. And so I'm going to just knot it off again. Hear the sound? Yeah. Okay, that'll work. That'll work for me. And I'm just going to let that bell just dangle against that. I don't know what this bead is made out of. Maybe stone of some kind. I don't know. Probably a synthetic something or other. Anyway, okay, so that's knotted on there and we can get rid of that. I don't know if you enjoy process videos like this or not. I like watching people with process videos, and actually a lot of times I put a process video on while I'm doing something else so I can just listen to people. Okay, so there's the dangle and the bell is on here, just free form. Bye, Joan. Good to see you. Hello, Barbara. Okay, so I'm going to show you what it's going to look like, and then I'm going to take off because I got stuff I got to get done. So here's the bottom of the doll. Right there. I know it's hard to see. Here, maybe I can pin it in place, and then I'll hold it up the other way so you can see it. Yeah, this will work better. Okay. Okay, so that gives, all of that stuff gives weight to this dangly thing. And so that'll be at the bottom of the doll. And then probably what I will do is the other things that I like to incorporate, which are the butterfly, the dragonfly, those kinds of things, the hand, those kinds of things, I will either attach to the ribbon. I'll probably do it this way so that this bottom ribbon will kind of, that comes from this, will kind of be a little bit of that. Give it a little more something, something. What I'll do is either sew the rest of these things to these silk ribbon strands, or I will just randomly add them around on the doll. And I don't know which. Or I could add them into this ribbon that's coming up. I don't know. Or I could put them in her hair. It is anybody's guess. In other words, I don't really know what I'm doing because I just make it up as I go along. Yep, I just make it up as I go along. All right. So that's going to be it. I will be back a week from Monday. So I will not be here next Monday, not next Friday. I will be a week from Monday. It's when I will be back in the evening. And I think we talked about all the things that I had to talk about that were on my list. So we did that. Hello, Leanna. Good to see you from New Zealand. I was in your country a couple of months ago. It's beautiful. I really, really enjoyed it. It's good to see you guys. Thank you all for being here, and I will see you when I get back. And I have a girl staying here to take care of the animals. I'll tell you about my trip when I get back. And until then, remember to get creative today, because you know it's easy. I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.